Hey guys, well, I went and did it again. I broke one of the major rules of videography, and I put a lighted window behind me. I know a lot of times I do it in the kitchen, don't I? I will stand in front of that window in the kitchen and shoot, and the camera likes to focus on the window behind me and makes me dark. But at least I do have a light on this time, which kind of helps. So anyways, see, I lost my train of thought already. It's that adult ADD I have. Sometimes it gets going and there's no brakes. Anyways, okay. One thing that I've had in my mind for years, I've had it in the back of my mind, how I wanted to store my seeds and organize them, and I knew exactly how I wanted to do it, but I just never took a weekend to do it. Last year I did a video on my old system of storing and organizing seeds, and it was that tub where I put the cards in with the year, and then each seed packet went behind it. The difficulty that I always had with that is finding the seeds, finding the packet. I just couldn't put my hands on it right away. And you know, because you have to flip through and look through each envelope and say, where is it? And you know, and when you do seed trades, like if you do them online or at the local garden club, you never get them in a uniform package, never in the same kind of envelope. So you have to repackage them to put them in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes I'll get them in a little dinky thing. It looks like they fold it up as small as I can make it and put a sticker on it. Oh, anyways, it was just too difficult for me to find things. So what I did was I decided I was going to break down last weekend and get it done. So I did. And what I did was the system that I'd come up with were these boxes. Now these boxes are they're the simplest thing on the planet, in my opinion, to make. I have 3 big ones and I have 3 small ones. The 3 big ones hold 80 vials each, and the 3 small ones hold 40 vials each. And I'm going to bring you in closer in a second and show you kind of a rundown. And when I did this, when I was doing my last one, I thought, why didn't I do a video on how to do this? But there again, that ADD kicks in. So my mind is just racing too fast. I wanted to get it done, and then now I just, all of a sudden, came to me and I thought, wow, I'm going to sit down and do a video. So that's why my videos are so kind of hodgepodge, because I don't even think about them before. I just sit it down and I start videoing and just do that. But anyways, they're really simple to make. Basically, if you go to the hardware store, you can pick up the 1x4 pine. I went and got some 1x4, 1 inch by 4 inch by 6 foot pine boards, and each pine board was a little over $1.90 a piece. So you're looking at, it takes 2 of them to make one of the large boxes, and so you're looking for under $4 for the major portion of it. The top and bottom are just some 1/8 inch plywood that I had laying around. But I priced the 1/8 inch plywood also, and you can make 2 large boxes with about $6 worth of the 1/8 inch plywood. So you're looking at another $3 or $4. It probably depends on where you shop, but at our local hardware store, it'd be about $2 or $3. Sometimes you can get it on sale, and you don't have to use plywood. You can use anything that you have, and the thickness really doesn't matter either, because who's going to care? I mean, people don't see these except. Now, thousands of people are seeing it right now, but I don't care what it looks like. In these boxes, I didn't even finish them. I didn't sand them. I didn't finish them. Some of the glue where I was gluing these up leak out. I don't care about that, because they're for storing my seeds. And if I was trying to win some aesthetic contest, I would have made little dado cuts on here or finger joints and made it look nice, and would have dadoed here and recessed these and maybe I probably would have stained them or painted them. But I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more concerned about their functionality. Each one of these, the large ones holds 80 vials, and the biggest expense. Now, of course, there's an expense here with these little brass hinges, and these hinges a set of these were about, I think it was $3.75 or something like that. And then I got a package of these latches. These latches were, I think, it was under $4 for 2 latches. It was a two pack of latches. So, you know, these boxes are really not that expensive to make. The biggest expense are the vials. Now these vials are 1 inch by 2 3/4 inches. They were between 25 and 30 cents a piece. So basically each one of these big boxes holds 80 vials, and at 25 cents a vial, that's what's $20, right? So that's really not a big expense, in my opinion. You know, if you just kind of add this up, it's not really too expensive to build one of these boxes to hold 80 vials of seeds. And I've got 3 boxes that'll hold 80, and then I've got 3 small ones that'll hold 40 each. So that's 120 plus 240. 360, I don't know. Math off the top of my head when my mind is racing isn't that good. But anyways, yeah, you can build them out of anything you have, any wood you have laying around. You can even take a 2x4 on edge and rip it on a table saw and end up with 2 1x4s. Basically 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, I mean, they're just, it doesn't matter what they look like. So I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to show you how I did these boxes and kind of give you a quick rundown, and it should be really simple. I mean, anybody who can use a hammer, or if you have like a brad nailer or a screw gun or anything like that, any way that you want to put these things together. I glued them and used a brad nail. I didn't use any screws on them. I just use a brad nailer with glue, and they're tough as anything. So, okay, so now as you can see, each one of these boxes holds 80 vials. I've got this one, Veg 1 and Veg 2. I've got them alphabetized B, A, B, all the way to Z, like that. So this is, I've kind of got them backwards. But anyways, each one holds 80. Now what I did was, when I made these boxes, I made these boxes to accommodate this vial, these size vials. And these vials are 1 inch by like 2 3/4 inches. So if you're going to use different size vials, then of course you'll adjust the box accordingly. So what I've done here is I took a 1x4 pine, and then I cut them at 3 inches. So the lid and the bottom, when I close the lid, is 3 inches high. So and then when I cut the lid, I ended up cutting it. Let me show you here. See, I cut the lid about 3/4 of an inch down. So this whole piece here is 3 inches plus the width of the thickness of the 1/8 inch plywood or something like that. So it's a little over 3 inches. These vials are 1 inch by 2 3/4 or something like that. And now what I've done inside the boxes here, I've got also 3 inches wide, 4 3-inch wide pieces, and I've cut 20 holes in each piece. Let me show you this here. Okay, so this is 3 inches wide, and it's cut from a 1x4, and I just ripped them on the table saw like I did all the pieces for the boxes and these. So it's a 1x4 that I ripped. It's 3.5 inches, so I ripped a 1/2 inch off of it, so they're 3 inches wide. And then I went and used a Forstner bit. Each one of these holes is 1.5 inches apart. So I took a Forstner bit and drilled 20 holes. Now, a Forstner bit is a special drill bit that gives you perfect holes like this, nice clean holes. I used a 1 1/8 inch bit because these vials are 1 inch in diameter. But you don't have to use a Forstner bit. You can use any drill bit that you have that's going to accommodate these vials. I used the Forstner bit because it looks a lot cleaner. It's a lot nicer. And then what I did was I've got 4 of these in each boxes. Now the small boxes I made, I only put 2 in each one. So there's 40 holes for each one. And so what I did was I took a 1/2 inch piece of wood, and because you have lots of leftover trim when you're ripping these 3 inches, you're going to have a 1/2 inch. So you've got a lot left over, and I made a little ledge down here for these to sit on, and it's about 3/4 of an inch or so up. So that ledge goes all the way around the inside of the box for these to sit down on. And then I went and used my brad nailer, and then just put nails right into the ledger board there, and it just holds these. They're not going to get any stress or anything. So if you want to glue them, you can. I didn't glue them. I just put brads in them, and they're just fine. They're not going to go anywhere. Now the biggest expense, because you can use this out of reclaimed lumber. You can, I mean, if you want to send some pallet boards through planer and use any kind of pallet, anything that you can find that you can make these boxes with, use it. But the biggest expense with doing this method was the vials. Excuse me. I got these vials. They were like 26 cents a piece or something like that, plus shipping. And I have a friend who buys all these wholesale, so you could probably find them a lot cheaper online if you buy them by bulk. But I like the guy, and I kind of help him out. So about $1/4 for each one. So if each one of these holds 80 vials, then it's going to be $20 for the vials. Which I mean I don't think that's a large expense at all. So to me, it's a lot better than having those envelopes that I had in those tubs. And so the second thing, now people say, well, how do you organize these? Now that's a good question. What I've done is I've got a spreadsheet on the computer, and I'm gonna do another video on how to build that spreadsheet to keep these organized and to know when they're getting low or when they're getting old. So you know, if you've got some on here that you don't know what age they are, each one of these vials is on my spreadsheet, and it tells me the age of the seed or when the seed was harvested. So it's really simple, like the cucumber here, lemon cucumber. I know this was harvested in 2013. So I know that by just quickly looking at my spreadsheet. Now the spreadsheet can also be exported to a little handheld device like your phone or a tablet or something. So I've always got that handy. I can always look it up on my phone and say, oh yeah, and it's all organized. You can organize it by the title, or you can organize it by the date, and the date will be the harvest date. So I can look at it and say, wow, you know what, I've got some hot peppers that are 3 years old. The germination rate on those is not going to be very good. So I'm going to have to think about replacing those. So I'll make sure that I will grow out all the stuff that's older, like back. I've got some tomatoes that are 20 years old that I just refuse to throw away. But I wanted to give you guys a rundown on how exactly I did these boxes, because I had a lot of people asking. This, to me, I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but to me this seems to be the most organized way that I've ever stored my seeds. And I'm going to do another video on how to store your seeds, what kind of temperatures and stuff to use. But for right now, I just wanted to get this done, and because I had a lot of people asking me. So this is basically how I'm doing this. So the overall dimensions of this box, like I say, it's 15.5 plus so it's like 17 from here to here, because this is 3/4 of an inch. So it's 15.5 for the front plus the width of the 3/4. So that's 17, and then 3, 6, 9, 12 for each one of these, 12, so 13.5 inches, so 13.5 by 17 or so. But like I say, you don't, those are not etched in stone. You can make these boxes any size that you want. Anyways, I hope that answers all the questions, guys, and I do appreciate all the messages from Facebook and things like that, and how to organize seeds, because I had so many people on the other video I did on when I had them in the tubs, and they go, wow, how can you find anything? And you know what, you're right. Having to sift through all those, it was mind-numbing. Most of the time I just left it and I just went with the newer stuff. So anyways, I know I'm going on. I'm going to shut up now, guys. Okay, and one final thing that I wanted to add. When I was talking about cutting these at 3 inches to make the box, I was saying that it's 3 inches total, the lid and the bottom. Now the reason why I was saying total was because when you make a box like this, rather than make a bottom and then make a top, basically what you're doing is you're just making an enclosed box is what you're doing. So you put the top and the bottom on, so it's completely enclosed, and then to make the lid you just rip on the table saw, set your fence at 3/4 of an inch, and then you go through and then you cut the lid off is what you're doing. That way when you lay it down, your lid fits perfectly. Now the best way to do it though when you're doing that is you have to be really careful, because it's going to want to, if you go through the whole thickness on the first pass and just try to go all the way around, it'll start falling apart on you and it'll get really dangerous. So I don't recommend doing that. I recommend setting the height of your blade so that it doesn't go all the way through, and so you've got just a hairline bit left all the way around, and then take a handsaw and go around through it with a handsaw. That way it's not trying to fly all over, because it can be pretty dangerous, and you want to make sure that you don't set this very high anyway. So just be very careful when you're doing it. If you're not sure how to do it, the best thing to do is either have somebody who's done it before do it for you. And there's another way that you can do it too, is if you do go all the way through, is the pieces that you've gone all the way through, take a 1 inch or 1/8 inch piece of scrap and put it in the hole and tape it, so that way it's completely stable. It's not dangerous. So anyway, just be really careful. So if you're going to do that, I wanted to add that, because I don't think I explained it well in the video about how I made the lid. So because trying to make a lid to fit a box, man, that can be really difficult. So I'm not good enough at that, because I'm always off like an 1/8 or a 1/4. I'm always off just a little bit squaring my boxes up, because I mean, if I'm going to use finger joints or something like that, it'd be a lot better, but I was just rushing through it. Just want to throw these boxes together. And doing it this way, actually, it does come out pretty doggone square. So I just wanted to explain that, guys. All right? Thanks a lot for watching. We'll catch y'all later.